Hello. Good morning, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome, welcome. Thank you, Laura, for joining us. Just a little reminder before we get going here, when you do show up with your questions, please put them in capitals so that we can easily identify them. But Laura, you are first to join us here. Anita has, welcome, Anita. She
Thank
has
you.
already pulled some cards on it. So I'm going to let her speak and I'm going to pull
Oh,
this question up.
I pulled cards on the energy of the week, and then we can
Okay,
get to Laura's together, maybe.
let's hide that quickly then. And
Okay. So, hello everyone, and let's get into what I pulled for the outlook of the energy we're in and where this energy is moving. And to start off with, it feels like this is under the umbrella of the third eye chakra work. So, very much about connecting the spiritual world with the logic of our critical thinking. It's a very interesting dance that we're doing right now that we've always done, but it's being stepped up a little bit more, where we can really um, make this amazing bridge between um, it's like a shifting to new worlds through this process, because we're always talking about how it's an inside job. This particular aspect of the inside job is that there's this infinite universe out there, and then here's our small experience that we often will call the 3D world, and we know that we're frequencing up leveling. However, what does this path look like? What is required of us along the way? And that
Mhm.
feels like that's what we're being drawn to focus in on this week. Um, and so, along with that, transformation is showing up in a big way. So that makes sense, right? We're
Yes.
going to shift. We're shifting and like shedding old patterns and past trauma and experiences that no longer serve us. We're doing that work and allowing ourselves to be the butterfly, right? That we're into that rebirth. Um, what comes in with this also is that our guardian angels are with us, our
Mhm.
whatever that is that we're energetically we tap into, that is of the most highest vibration and frequency of energetics. Lots of different terms people use, like again, guardian angel, galactics, um, higher selves, all of that umbrella.
Yeah.
Remember to pull on that energy because it's
Yes.
always there for us. Throw up a prayer, keep asking, make these connections. This is part of the process of
Mhm.
shifting out of what we know into what can be and what will be.
Yeah.
And the path itself, it's like we keep being shown we're at the light at the end of the tunnel. It's so much is like, and it's like, how long is that tunnel? Where it almost like an accordion, where it feels like it's so close, and then it might go like this because
Oh
what is
my gosh,
yeah,
totally.
no,
What
yes.
an awesome analogy.
So it's like, yeah, it's because what is time, right? We're in this like,
Oh,
but
yeah.
we're definitely heading into new beginnings through that process, and we keep getting the reminder that the more we're in that alignment, that calm, centered space, we know exactly what to do, and keep doing it. Check in with your heart, check in with your integrity, your authenticity. How is it resonating? Is it feeling good? Then walk that path. And
Yes.
so that was what came in for the
I
week
love
ahead.
that. Thank you,
Mhm.
Anita. It's
Ah,
so
my pleasure.
resonant. I spent my weekend at a beautiful festival here in the interior called Electric Love.
Mm.
And oh my goodness, the depths of the connections and conversations I had from people that were all just saying, like, on the same wavelength and frequency. And it wasn't about substance, it was about coming together on the land and sharing our hearts with
Mm.
each other. It was just shattering to me. It was
Ah,
beautiful. And so it gives you so much insight and hope into when you get all these people together. You can't deny it.
No,
It's
I feel
magic.
the energetic ripples coming off of you, Kristal. It's like, well, that is the benefit of a vacation, even a meditation
Yeah.
or a festival, something where we get to carry that energy in our hearts afterwards. It ripples out from us, and I can feel that ripple that you co-created with others, and you get
Yes.
to carry it now.
And then actually, lastly on that, some of my very favorite parts of the festival were my own walks from place to place where I just took myself and I just honored myself the whole time. Like, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much. I love you. Thank you for
Mm.
the connections that you're making. And it's a reflection of who you are. And it was just, and then at the end of those walks, I'd have the most profound experiences because I'd taken that time and spent my time with myself, grounded into the earth, the land that I was on.
Mm.
So beautiful.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, thank you, Anita, for calling us in here and setting the tone. Good
Mm,
morning,
pleasure.
Ethan and Suzanne. Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Mm.
We're going to have a look at Laura's question.
Eh,
Retrogrades, beautiful.
mm.
Being born during a retrograde, I often feel more comfortable overall. My question is this the time for me to make agreements and start new relationships?
Beautiful. Well,
Yes.
and a reminder that we do try to keep the questions for the world, for everybody, but we're here now, and you've asked the question. You posted it really early for us too, Laura.
Yes.
So thank you so much. And what I found so interesting is because I had pulled for the week and tuned in, and then when I saw your question, it's so funny that Kristal then did put it up right away because I did question, uh, is this for Laura or is this for everybody? And it was like, well, there's some overlap, but no, my intention was that it was for the world, for everybody. And then I when I pulled for you now, I got the exact same card to start with, which was third eye chakra work. So that is
Okay.
why I got that feeling. I was like, there's something here. And so of course there's always going to be overlap between what's happening for everyone and for each individual. But this third eye chakra space of doing the inner work, but then what are we expressing back out? And we're connecting to the world. And so here you
Mhm.
are with what is influencing you from the exterior, yet it's always an inside job. So you're riding the waves, and if you're saying you often feel more comfortable overall, are you saying that you're more comfortable overall during all the time or in retrogrades? That part I don't quite get, but it feels like you ride the waves well because you're in I feel like what you're saying is that you're used to the retrograde energy so that you can easily get comfortable, if I'm
Mhm.
getting that
Mhm.
correctly. Part of the advice for that is not quite yet. Am I looking at the question that you have more energetically about what you put forward here, and it's healthy choices as and not quite a solution, but as a suggestion, as advice in this energetic puzzling that you're looking at, along with this raise your vibration. So through making healthy choices, through anything that might be thought of as lower or denser energy, especially when we're talking retrogrades, it's like staying in the driver's seat and you can
Mm.
create whatever you want, but you're paying attention to what the guidance of the energy is, because that's what energy is for us. It's a currency, it's a guidance system. There's so many aspects to it that we can harness and
Mhm.
co-create with. So that's and sort of an opening addressing your question and statement here, and then I'll let Kristal go with tuning in with what she has.
Yeah, similar. Similar. I love it. Okay, so um In answer, is this a time for me to make agreements and start new relationships? We have the yes card in the center here, the Ace of Swords. So, and we have the Ace of Wands. Okay. And the Star. So I'm getting like huge yeses. And both aces, two aces, mastering, new beginnings, balance, particularly when it comes to new focus of your energy. And interesting, born during the retrograde, you may find that retrograde is a part of your sort of superpowered time. And so actually you honoring that you know this about yourself, you could actually possibly use the energy during this time to make retrogrades a time for new beginnings for you, which is kind of funny to me. And yet it seems like the new beginnings are the new energy flow and also the new mastering of way of thinking. So if you're making these starts and these new agreements and these new relationships, stepping forth, following your internal guides, following your North Star, and really honoring your sovereignty. Who is it that you are stepping forth as in your approach to the relationship, in what you offer and what you honor and respect or expect to get back in return? So, really bringing yourself forward in this, because it's an entirely new beginning for you. So, how exciting is that? Yeah,
Love
it's so
those
clear.
cards.
Love it when it's so clear like that.
It's a pretty amazing answer for you, Laura. Yeah.
Yes.
All
Okay.
right. All right. So hello to Ricky and to Suzanne. And I hope I'm saying it's right. Is it Suzanne or Susan? Suzanne, I think, is the way by the way it's spelled.
Suzanne, yeah.
And in Sweden, certainly a question about Sweden and Europe here coming up in two parts. Can you post two parts, or should we just read through?
Well, let's read through this first one, and then I'll put the second part up.
Okay, great.
Do you want to
So
read it, Anita?
sure, yeah, the Swedish Wallenberg family controls all telecom and power infrastructure in almost 200 countries, and Trump has mentioned Ericsson, one of their main companies. Things are heating up in Europe, so would love if you guys can do a reading on when all eyes will be on Mordor, aka Sweden. All right.
Hey.
Well, love that Lord of the Rings reference here. So it is really interesting what's happening overall, isn't it? There's things daily, like Trump and Elon's interview yesterday on X, and um, just feeling like it's cementing new um, channels of communication, because where there's been so much control issues around things. So we know more and more information is coming forward because it can't be stopped anymore. It feels like when people have talked about watch the water, certain calms and various things, it's like it can be interpreted in so many ways, but I do feel it's like an energetic dam bursting. It's just some can only see the trickle and some don't see anything yet. But those of us that are aware and paying attention, it's like, wow, there's a lot shifting and coming through here. So, um, on this specifically, it's getting into the throat chakra space, what we're looking at. So lots to do again with this communication, like I've just mentioned. There are things that are quite miraculous that it feels that are coming related to this. So it feels like it could be quite soon, but the more that I tune in, it's the same as what I was just expressing. It's going to be a flood for some of like, oh my goodness, and aware because the awareness is already there. For others, it might just be like some eyes on Sweden, let's say, in accordance to your question. And then for others, there might be like no visibility yet. So that in
Mhm.
that sense, it feels more of this that same pattern of what's already happening with the information out there. However, there is a pace pickup, it feels like, because there's again, I'm getting this aspect of protection around us. So remembering to call in that support, because it can feel both ways. Many things that we address, it can feel like this is exciting because information is coming out, and it can feel a little um, anxious or nervous for us when we're concerned about something that's um, going a little off the rails. In the case of this in particular with Sweden, it's um, I don't get that it might be Sweden in particular. It could be more the corporation or the process of these companies, because it's always, there's a parent company and then the trickle down of all of the things that are connected. Um, so that's what I'm getting so far on this.
Mhm.
How about
Mhm.
you, Crystal?
Yeah, let's have a look. I'm gonna let's see. Let's do this here. Oh. Okay, how about I show you all the cards properly here? Try my best. I can get more in there. Okay, so it's interesting. There's definitely some big players at work here, and there's no denying it. And there's no denying that it's massively patriarchally dominated what's happening. And however, there's a bit of a feeling of like, uh, there's a lot of internal battling that's happening with these forces, and they're actually just barely holding ground. Like, what we see is a lot of like the smoke and mirrors of the fact that there's a lot of underground turmoil and messiness happening, I feel like. And there's like this is the question or the inquirer, the Page of Pentacles. So there's a lot about kind of like um I feel like a new way of developing and handling currency. There's like this sort of like underground, sort of curious, playful, almost trickster energy that's coming in. And there's the stir up that's happening, like all of the like underground chaos that's happening is because we're really learning to like take care of ourselves on the daily. This is a daily ritual card as well. And like almost staying in the curiosity around all of this and not getting too wrapped up in the like story that we've been told. Because we are also feeling like we're just holding ground a little bit in this. Like, what way do I go? And how do I call this guy the tightrope walker. He's like, oh my goodness, like, I don't know if so there's a lot of energy that is being focused in specific directions, and it's causing emotion. There's the Ace of Cups is in the center. This is where we're at right now. And almost in the best way possible, there's healing. We've got the healing cross in the center here. So these emotions are meant to be coming forward. We're meant to be stirred up in this way. And the more that all of us gather the bits of knowledge that we're meant to and share it, the more people are going to start, like the 100th monkey effect that we always talk about. The more eyes are going to go in the direction that we focus our energy. So, where do we want that to go? And how do we want to be calling in what we want to be focusing on? And we all are highly powerful beings. So, Suzanne, if you intend to focus your energy on all of this intel that you're collecting, then these beings and this energy is going to come and join you. And so we're all in this together. I don't know. I've been at a festival, like I said, all weekend, so I have no clue actually what's happening. You so thank you for the information and filling me in. And lastly, I'm like, oh my gosh, I go away for 3 days. And lastly, the Eight of Cups here as the potential future outcome. And I feel like, again, it's the invitation for us to explore where this our own emotional connection to it, what it really means to us. Like, this is a bit of a vision quest card, and we're looking for that final cup that really fills our hearts and allows us to have the full picture of the dream come true. So we're still in the journey of really finding our truth in all of this, each one of us. And the more that we find our truths, again, we lead by example and allow other people to come and share in our truths with us or offer their perspectives of it. So that doesn't necessarily answer when will all eyes be on it. And yet, like I said, we are powerful beings that can call this in. So, like Anita said, it's all about praying. It's all about asking our ancestors to call in what we're praying for and assist us in that. So,
And through that process, thank you, Kristal, that was awesome.
mhm.
Through that process, we are rising ourselves. And again, we're getting a lot of these things that cycle through, circle through, repeat. And I'm actually loving that because they're like guideposts. And what I'm going to say now, we've repeated, and it's like we're the ones we've been waiting for,
Oh,
right? So that's why the inner work is so important, and exactly what Kristal's talking about with what intention each of us is putting out there, and how we're each called in different ways. And it can be because of where we live, it can be what is on our radar. And Kristal, you that's just because you had a few days away, this is not just like one or something that just happened that you missed or anything. I feel like this is like the big picture piece that she's addressing, right? The Wallenberg family. That's huge. That's
precisely.
not, yeah, it feels like more of these things are coming to light, but also, as Susanna already acknowledged, it is all a play. Like, she
Yeah.
made further comments here where um, that it's all already under control. That these families have already been, as we hear about it, already been taken care of. And what does that mean? Are they being guided by white hats now, or have they been
Mm.
completely taken over by white hats? And it's really like the play, like the costume is on, so to speak. There are lots of different ways that can look, but
Yes.
I feel, and Kristal, you probably could say where you are in this, but what I've heard so often is that we're just we're we it's all playing out as the divine plan needs to, except for there's always these shifts in response to where everyone is energetically. So where is everyone's attention? Oh, well, good, it's over here. Let's keep it over here, and we'll do this underground, and we'll make that happen. Oh, or no, there was a
Mhm.
response to it. Oh, do we want more? Less, gas or brake? Like that everything is being modulated and every day in response to where we're putting our attention and our energy. But again, a lot of it has been taken care of behind the scenes and then just
Yeah.
these props put up, so to speak, for us to still engage with until there's a full light shining on. Oh, that's exactly what happened. Oh, and that might be a while till
Mhm.
we get those details, but we're really knowing we're putting the pieces together on a daily basis by collaborating in these spaces in many ways around the world. So, thank you, Suzanne, for bringing this forward because now we're all shining a light on the awareness around this and
Yes.
that this what I got for the week, this energy of there's a light at the end of the tunnel. There's really that everyday aspect through the work that we're each doing every day, and it's shifting things. There was more coming through, but it feels like I was interrupted to keep it focused to the words that came out. So I'll trust. And sometimes that's because there's other things coming forward here for us to address that will flesh out the whole picture. So, uh,
Beautiful.
yeah.
Beautiful. I'm just going to there was the follow-up question here.
Oh,
We're going to do one last one from Suzanne.
okay.
So, and we'll just pull a few cards on it. Will the scare event from Russia happen there? They own the Atlantic cables, which the hub is outside island of Gotland in the Baltics. Okay.
Well, I feel like there's a reason why all of Hollywood cast Russia as the bad guy, right?
Mhm.
Um, because for me, I'll just say this while Crystal's preparing cards, and I've pulled some here, but I got the take a step back card. And as soon as I do that, it's like, yeah, if we can look at the programming that's been put upon us. And
Mhm.
then when we truly tune in ourselves from a balanced, centered place, I feel a lot of love from Mother Russia. Not my mother country, but I just feel like a world mother. And why would it serve to have that severed and have us feel cut off from that?
Mhm.
Well, it does serve to be able to control us. I do feel ease around these things that whatever happens, again, it's all theater. So it's not
Yeah.
something that we need to get worked up about, but it is something to be aware of. And, ooh, will there be? Because an event can be just again theater, not something that actually is happening or that's real. It's just something that's talked about. And how do you deal with this thrown at you? As I was just talking about before, we get this little sprinkle in. Oh, what's happening here? It's like theater in the live, so to speak, that interactive theater, because we are meant to engage um, with everything every day and help the plan get steered. So,
Mhm.
and then it's like settle back into our hearts. And when you do, and then do the work. That's what's coming up here. Do the work card. So, in that sense, it's like your own, again, inside job. You're doing that work. You're finding that space and then looking at what the news is or what the calm is that's coming through and going, is
Mhm.
this whipping up some fear for a reason? Is it so
Yeah.
that we can respond calmly to something that's coming at us that might be trying to put us in fear? There's lots of different um, reasons why something might be spoken about like this, and there's a reason why we might need to be cut off or have the illusion of being cut off through these communication cables. And yeah,
Mhm.
so let's look at what you pulled here, Crystal.
Yeah, super in alignment with what you were saying.
Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That like broader picture, the kind of stepping out, I really see that with this Page of Wands here. Again, we've got another page, so that's really like starting of a bigger journey, and really the journey is of openness, curiosity, and he's kind of standing on the outside of the village and looking over. So it's all about your perspective. And I also feel like in events, in answer to the question, that there's a lot that's being considered right now, and that we don't necessarily know the yes or no's on that. And the way that it's all being looked at or laid out is actually like, no matter what happens, it's actually either being led from someone who is absolutely coming from their heart, or and it's also stirring up um, a lot of, again, the emotions in us that are showing us where we get to master our hearts and really like, are we ready for everything that's going to continue to unfold? And how could we, it's continuously bigger and bigger. And every time that things happen and our emotions get stirred up, we get to learn about ourselves. We get to build our parameters. And through the healing that we do, we create the legacy that we're leaving behind. And that legacy adds to the community that we're building while we're doing it. And so, no matter what happens, it looks to me like it's for the greater good. It looks to me like it is pushing us and assisting us in building the new world, in building the legacy, and in investing ourselves into that. So I don't know that we really have to worry about it. I feel like you said, Anita, I think just like hold space for what comes up and trust that we designed it perfectly this way.
And I will add that it, when we talk about Russia, let's look at what happened with the CrowdStrike glitch that affected the world except for Russia. So what systems do they have in place that are separate? I've also heard anecdotal evidence of people are like Google being shut down there, and Gmail not getting through because they're not dependent on the corporate systems that are controlling the rest of the world. So, as a model, and I wouldn't be surprised if there are other nations that are in the same boat or same lovely situation, I should say, actually, that they've created, but we just haven't heard about it yet. Whereas we're getting these sprinkles in about Russia, that they're thriving under sanctions. They are on a separate system where they don't get shut down at a little hack or any little thing like that. So when there's something that might be considered a scare event or something about a sabotage switch, all of these things just feel like if it actually happens and it's not just theater, that it will be to our benefit in the
Yes.
big picture. Is it because we're
Yes.
learning new information about it, or is it because um, this needs to be shut down, an old system needs to be shut down in order to bring in a new system? Let's
Mhm.
and Ashala is always so great at bringing this in too, where she's like, let's focus on what we want
Yes.
through paying attention to the information that comes in. We're not ostriching, we're not putting our head in the sand and not paying attention to other things.
Mhm.
However, we are taking the information, as Kristal was just lovely saying, about what are we going to do with that information, and how are we going to make it, how are we going to put it through our systems, and put out our intentions of what we would like to um, get from this situation? Or even going back to the retrograde question with Laura, where's your superpower? Where's each of our
Yes.
superpowers? Because we are each exceedingly unique in some way, and yet we're a part of this collective, bringing our
Mhm.
amazing uniqueness flavor to each aspect of this collective coming. And the more we step into our powers, our uniqueness, our gifts, and bring it forward, the more we're bringing that picture out of, oh, we're getting that information from over here. And oh, that's interesting. And let's co create, like that card you had too, like stepping
Yes.
into what is that legacy we're creating?
Yes.
We are in it now. And that's
Yes.
what's super exciting too, because this has been so many years in the making, and we might feel these challenges of being here, but we are in it and we are doing amazing things despite the challenges. So,
Truly.
yeah.
Truly. Thank you,
All right.
Suzanne, for all your beautiful questions. I'm going to go to this question from Christian, and then we have to hop off early
Oh,
today. I'm so sorry. I have another appointment that I have to get to, but we have a few more minutes here. So, how are the current solar energies affecting the collective? Thank you, Christian, for your question.
oh, I pulled on Ethan's. Can we power do this?
Oh
You
my
do,
gosh,
you okay,
where did Ethan's
you
go?
do Christians, and then I'll go into
Okay.
Ethan.
Okay. Did I miss Ethan's? Gosh. Okay. Let's have a look here. I'm going to pull 3 cards on this. Uh-huh. Nice. Interesting. Okay. So, how are the energies affecting the collective? I definitely see that we are being stirred up in a way that's making us um, really look at when these energies come in, who are we in them, and what tools do we have to navigate them? And then how can we be sure that in that energy that we're not just navigating through reaction, and that we really do at these periods when these energies are high, we do honor that we have been cultivating ourselves and collecting the tools to be able to navigate through the energies, and particularly to honor um, our purposeful path that we're on and the slow and steady steps that it takes to get there. So really trying not to get too sidetracked and just keeping your eye on the prize of like what it is that I know, and what is it that I do well, and how can I just kind of really take myself slow and steady through till these energies clear. Because if we get too much in our heads about it, we could get kind of stuck and start to feel a little bit trapped in a little bit of overwhelm of sort of all these different thoughts that can fly at us, or um, just like, yeah, feeling stuck.
Mm,
So
yeah.
so remember that if you find yourself feeling like, I don't even really know how I feel, I'm not even sure how to think right now, um, that is a bit of a pause on maybe thinking, and use the tools that you've been cultivating to yeah, take it step by step through this.
And I'll
Mhm.
add into that that it feels like a lot of um, feeling our way through. It's like, can we get
Mhm.
into compassion over the situation when we see it playing out in different ways, where some people might feel overwhelmed and other, because we're all in different places at different times. And that is such a gift. So it isn't all of us overwhelmed at the same time. It might be a
Yes.
lot of us, but it's not all of us. So we can get into compassion about where someone else is at in their journey when they get zapped, because my sense is that it is about raising the frequency, but that might take you down into the mud. It might take you into the density, even though the overall purpose is to raise the frequency, but we might have to clear away some of the debris first. So that is part of the journey, and noticing where we're getting the synchronicities and the messaging along the way. And
Mhm.
now we can switch over to Ethan. Um, Thank you, Christian, for your question. And so with Ethan, scapegoating has been a theme I've seen a lot in the larger world stage and on a personal level. My question is, what is the best method to discern the difference between justice and scapegoating?
Wow.
Yeah, and it's lovely that you're bringing up something that is about building our discernment. All of these things are
Absolutely.
about building our discernment, but this very much gets specific in addressing it. And the, are we going to truly know if we've, yet what is that? Um, what is that difference? So what I pulled on this was getting into the sacral chakra, which is really interesting because it's not
Mm.
even the root. It's like, what do you want? That's what's coming forward. Again, it's this, I feel like that's a theme of today too, because it's what we are inserting. It's not just what's coming, like we're getting that information in. It's like we are the lens that we are perceiving things through and then responding to out in the world. So
Mhm.
it is when we can sit back with something and go, it, is that the same thing? Because justice is quite a double edged sword already, that it catches
Mhm.
us up. That's why we have the saying, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? Because we get we feel that justice can be clean and truth, and it's like, actually no, we know that there's multiple truths and multiple universes and multiple possibilities. So
Mhm.
this is a really big thing to consider. um so what, again, looking at what we are wanting to create matters in how we're discerning here. It
Mhm.
also is, what guidance are we getting um, from higher energies? This is it's interesting that I've got compassion came up twice in a row with these questions, but this is the signs of heaven that was coming through, and because it's showing the feathers, it's reminding me that we all have different signs and agreements of that.
Mm.
Oh, 1111, or seeing a feather on our path. Some people it's finding a penny, a dragonfly, a butterfly. We have these symbols with the universe, and this is also part of building this discernment. What are the symbols that are guiding me while checking in with our own energy? Is this something that is um, like pointing me into this strong justice mode of this is how things are coming to um, clarity and truth for everyone? Well, I've already said it looks so different, that we're all on these such varied paths that are coming together.
Yes.
Um, and so we still have so many perspectives coming forward. We need a little bit of that tension energy still, so that people will pay attention, so people will engage, because
Mhm.
we are the ones creating this discernment for others, just like those before us have created a little bit of this, looking at, okay, scapegoating can be an important process. Look at Edward Snowden, or Julian Assange, that or Trump, even all of these um like big figures that have been very much scapegoat positioned. Have they brought in some justice? A little bit, at least bringing in some awareness, or you could say quite a bit. It's just not everybody realizes. Some people still have their pushback about their preconceived notions, maybe what they've been programmed with of what each of those individuals are and represent. Oh, a traitor, or is it someone who's actually a patriot? Like, it's walking that line,
Mhm.
and this is an energetic challenge. It can pull on us emotionally, especially if we're the one that's been put in that scapegoat position, because there's the macrocosm and then there's the microcosm, right? So it can get repeated within our, just like you acknowledged, Ethan, on your personal level, that you can experience and be one of these people who have had to walk that line in between trying to fight for some justice and then being scapegoated for it, like all
Mhm.
whistleblowers and truth tellers. So,
Mhm.
is it going to become one and the same? Because that's what I feel like. If we emotionally stay balanced and calm with it, and then others will be like, as much as they want to scapegoat and point fingers, it's like, except for they're consistent and they say the same thing, and that brings us more towards justice. So I hope this is making sense to you, because I do feel, Ethan, that it's like a little bit of a word salad sometimes, because that is what it is to create discernment. We really walk those lines and
Yes.
scrub the energy, so to speak, because
Yes.
we're bringing forth new possibilities in ways that we have never done before. So allowing this to be absolutely different than it has been while we're examining these very important questions. What were you going to say,
Beautiful.
Crystal?
I pulled one card because we
Okay.
only have 1 minute.
Yeah.
Um, so I really love that this came up because I see this correlation all of a sudden between scapegoating and scarcity.
Mm,
And in terms of, because this is like the collective wound here. This is the wound that's based in the fear of scarcity and lack, and that sort of feeling like we're displaced in our security. And so something about it just tells me that if you're trying to discern the difference between justice and scapegoating, keep an eye out for if you're being led to feel like we're in fear of scarcity, and something about that being like a direction that they're trying to lead you, or a focus, or like a pivot point. Something about it says to me like that is they're using it to scapegoat people. So I feel like justice is going to happen no matter what, but keep an eye out for when we're being feeling like we're being pushed into focusing on the fear of what might be taken away from us, because they've already been doing it for hundreds of freaking years and here we are. So
yeah, we continue to get tested
yeah,
and just distracted sometimes. Like, so
exactly.
what is the important thing to focus on? But if we stay calm and balanced within ourselves, it won't matter, eventually, right? We're really just, this is my light and I'm shining it. Now, if
Yes.
someone's going to scapegoat me for my choices and for what I've said, that's where they're at on their journey.
Yes.
And if I just stay in this calm centered place and keep, and it's not a static space, like we're shifting and evolving along the way and realizing, oh, I was wrong there, oh, here I have new information. Like, we're constantly shifting that way, but ultimately staying calm and balanced, shining a light through, I feel like that carries us to justice. But as I mentioned before, the double sword of justice, it might look different than we imagine from our energetic, dense space to the actual high frequency space that we're heading into. So hopefully that helps, Ethan.
Beautiful. Thank you so much to everyone for joining us today. It's been lovely to
Mhm.
have your questions and your guides coming in and your energy. We will see you again next Tuesday. I'm not sure who's hosting this time, but we're so grateful to have you
Okay.
all here. Thank you, Anita, for joining me today.
Thank you, Crystal.
Yeah. Take
Bye,
care,
everyone.
everyone. Have a blessed week.